most roads are unknown. These are the paranormal roads.
Hello everybody, this is Jack, and you're listening to Paranormal Roads.
Yep, and this is Mike.
And today we're going to be talking about anti-gravity.
Right. So, here on Paranormal Roads, we always have wild and crazy theories, and they usually, when I'm involved, they involve aliens. So, where does anti-gravity come from? Where does this technology come from? You'll just have to listen to the show and find out. I'm not going to tell you.
It's not aliens, is it?
I don't know. I'm not going to tell you. But, anti-gravity is the idea of creating a place or object that is free from the force of gravity. Right?
Oh, yeah. It's what's keeping us sitting here right now. We'd be floating and hitting the ceiling.
Right. Well, that's true. Yeah, either that or medical marijuana, but we're going to go with the anti-gravity.
So we're not floating right now? That's joking.
Well, you might be, Jack. I don't know. I don't know what you did before I got here, but hey. But anyway, the government, United States government, has been experimenting with anti-gravity for a long time. 1921, gyroscopes. Gyroscopes. Yeah. It's like a metal housing, and it has a ball in the...
They use them in planes and stuff.
Right, and eventually in World War II, they ended up using them in planes. That was their first experiment with anti-gravity. Not very effective.
Yeah.
Like you said, it went in the airplanes, and it was effective. It was good for that.
Because the planes are up in the air, and they change gravity a lot, so...
Yeah.
They change G's and stuff.
G's and altitudes and all that, yeah.
So the gravity's really not... It's for a measurement. Makes sure they're level, so...
Right. So that's really not the anti-gravity we're talking about here today. And there's also magnetic anti-gravity. You ever go to like Spencer's or the gift shops and they have like a little pen or a globe and it seems like it's hanging in space because there's magnets pushing it up? That's anti-gravity, technically. But we're looking for more of how the United States government, developed, anti-gravity. And one of them, in a show that you wanted to do, because you love this, I think it was a movie, the Philadelphia Experiment.
Oh, yeah, brought this up. Yep.
Right. So for people who don't know, the Philadelphia Experiment is a military exercise that was carried out by the U.S. Navy at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard on October 28th, 1943. And it involved the U.S. Navy destroyer escort USS Eldridge. And they were trying to make it invisible.
Yeah.
Or to make it cloaked.
But something else happened.
Something else happened. I think maybe the government stumbled upon a little anti-gravity there.
Yeah.
Because what happened? Tell us what happened.
Well, they... not only was Einstein working on it, but Tesla was working on this as well.
Right.
And what happened is you had reports that this ship actually not only disappeared, but that it teleported.
Right.
And then that when it came back, you had like sailors actually stuck to the ship, inside of the ship.
Yeah.
And then you had people missing too.
Right, there was people missing.
So
some people went mentally unstable. They became mentally unstable.
And people died days after the experiment.
Right. So what I think was initially a cloaking, trying to make invisible to the human eye. It was an experiment of Einstein's unified field theory. It basically just brings together electromagnetism and gravity. It brings together, and I think the United States government was trying to, in the Philadelphia experiment, tap into that just for invisibility.
Yeah.
But I think they got an outcome they weren't.
Oh yeah.
They didn't know it was going to happen.
And did you ever hear this? There's a lot of the sailors afterwards, like days after this happened. There was reports that they were actually flickering in and out. They were at a bar, and people reported saying the sailors were actually flickering in and out like light bulbs.
So, they might have even, like you said, portals. Because we did a show on time travel and portals, but I never thought to add the Philadelphia Experiment in with that.
Oh yeah, this one guy,
travel.
Al. I forget his last name now. I think I put him on a website. I put a video.
Yeah.
Remember what the guy's last name is?
I don't.
Oh,
I don't remember.
I know his name's Al. I'll have to look it up later. But he said he time traveled. He was a part of the Philadelphia experiment. He said he went to the future. He went to 2 different futures. He actually went to the future where he was living on the city was an anti-gravity city.
Really?
Yeah. The whole city, the whole earth was like so polluted and stuff that they actually built giant cities, and like the rich lived on these floating cities that were suspended by anti-gravity devices.
Wow. You know, in the Indian culture from India, remember them old stories where they have picture graphs of flying cities?
Yeah.
They have clouds and it looks like little cities on
Yep.
them?
And,
Interesting.
He said, I forget the year it was, but I think his name was Al Belbeck, I think.
Go back.
Balbeck.
Sounds kind of familiar. Yeah.
But he said he went to the future. He lived there for like 5 years or something. And then he teleported to a different time in the future. And then he was back. Like as if nothing, it was like he came back to the time he left.
Right.
So he lived like years in the future and then came back to, it was like as if nothing happened. So.
Huh. Well, and it's a great movie. I've seen it, the Philadelphia Experiment. It's been a long time, but it was kind of a trippy movie. But I think what the Philadelphia Experiment taught, I mean, beyond the technical aspect, is that that this tech is obviously dangerous to humans.
Oh, yeah.
So I think, they went back to the drawing board, pulled the technology apart, and they probably went back into the laboratory and tested this again, but not on humans, once they realized. And that's why I think the government does. And we were doing a show earlier about the mini space shuttle. The name of that is the X-37B.
Okay.
Right. So what I think has happened is the government, United States government, has realized, let's not use humans in these experiments anymore because people are just getting hurt.
Yeah.
Let's test this technology. So I think they're testing. They have this little mini space shuttle, and it's testing these and maybe taking the anti-gravity technology up into space, away from humans, and trying it out in space so nobody gets hurt. One possible
supposedly.
theory. Right.
But there are cases where people have actually dug up people from like even in Egypt. I've seen people were excavating and they dug up people, fossilized people and stuff that had like someone had like a Swiss watch on.
Right.
And it was like 3,000 years old, but
Sure.
it was from the 1900s. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, we need to have, here on ParanormalRoads.com, we're trying to figure out this all-encompassing theory of time travel and portals, and we talk about it often.
Yeah.
We're not quite sure, but we're working. Each and every show, just keep coming back to Paranormal Roads and listen to all our shows, because we throw a little bit in, and we're going to come to a theory about this.
Yeah.
How all this comes together. Right now, we're talking about the anti-gravity.
Anti-gravity, yeah.
And how it relates to the United States government and the technology we might have. And does it come from aliens? I'm not going to get to that part yet.
Okay.
I'm going to save that for later still.
All right.
But, yeah, so I think that we're testing. I think we have the technology, and we've been testing it for a long time. Nikola Tesla, like you said. So Tesla comes out, and he, even before Albert Einstein was even being a physicist, he was alive.
Yeah.
Tesla was coming up with all these anti-gravity dynamic theories of gravity way before even Einstein was too young to even think about this. Tesla was first.
Yeah, Tesla was an old man whenever
Right, so
him and Einstein were together.
Right, how much of anti-gravity theory that Einstein came up with, how much of it was from Tesla? How much did he read Tesla's paper and go expound on that?
Oh, Einstein read a lot of other people's work.
Oh, sure.
So,
Of course he read Tesla.
oh yeah, and The funny thing with Einstein is he actually sat and just meditated and just he thought of how it would work in his head.
Right.
So, who knows what was in his mind? And maybe he actually teleported himself. Maybe
he could have.
Maybe he thought of how he would fly above the ground.
Could be.
Like, who knows what he was thinking?
Well, I mean, and I haven't really read into Tesla that much, and maybe you would know more than me. I mean, he was basically credited for the creation of so many technologies: radio, television,
robots,
right? AC,
lasers,
electric, fluorescent lighting, like you're saying,
wireless technology,
right? You know, you have that up on paranormalroads.com in the video section. You have a video of Tesla, and I need to watch that, and I don't know why I haven't yet. But interesting guy. So here we go with my theory on the anti-gravity technology that we have. I don't think, and you know me, you can check out all my stuff online, Alien Search Guide. You know I'm all about the aliens, Jack.
Oh yeah.
I think it's more probable that the United States government just came up with anti-gravity by themselves via Tesla. And I'm not saying Tesla didn't get it from aliens, because he might have, but I don't think the U.S. government got it. A lot of people think Roswell, reverse engineering.
Well, I think Tesla may have gotten it, but I think he's the type of guy that didn't want to share anything too dangerous. He may have figured it out. He built an earthquake machine. He tested it one time in New York, and New York had an earthquake, and he destroyed the technology.
Yeah.
So I think he did develop anti-gravity, and I think he destroyed it.
Well, supposedly he had a little anti-gravity flying machine. It was a little lightweight metal thing, and he hooked it to a thin wire on a battery, and supposedly it was floating. What happens is your flying saucer, picture a flying saucer with a steel rod in the middle.
Yeah.
If you electrify that rod, all the electricity goes out towards the thin saucer edge, like around the edge of the saucer, and that creates the lift. And that's the anti-gravity. So I think it was. I think the U.S. government got it from Tesla.
Yeah.
So here's the timeline. Let me.
Oh, Tesla! I think he destroyed it though, to the point where they couldn't steal it from him. So I'm thinking your aliens. They had to go to the aliens.
That is possible. Remember, in 1939, Tesla died.
Yeah.
And the government came in and took his notes.
They took, well, not just his notes. He had like 50 cases of notes, like actual, like, you know, the old-fashioned. Where those carts with the big lids and stuff.
Yeah.
He had like 50 of those, 47 of them or something.
Right.
They took within like 2 hours of his death, because he never owned a house. He always lived in a hotel. He was a really odd guy. He always had to live in a hotel. He didn't want to, and he always went to different hotels. And he always had to live in a place. Everything had to be divisible by 3.
Really?
So if he was in a hotel, he had to live in like apartment 3 or apartment 6 or apartment 9 or apartment 12. It had to be divisible by 3, or he would not stay there. So he went from hotel to hotel to hotel, and had to be like, he was really eccentric, really odd. But he was up in New York. I believe it was New York. He was up staying somewhere, and within an hour and a half of his death. And there's a lot of speculation of how he died.
Right.
Because within like an hour of his death, the government came in and stole all of his chest. That's what he had, chest. He had like wooden chests. He had like 40, I think it was like 47 of them or something. They came in and took them all. And then he actually wrote in his will, he was going to donate all of his work to Croatia.
Right.
Because he was from Croatia, and they were going to, he actually planned on building a device to protect his homeland with like a laser grid.
Wow.
He built a laser
Star
grid.
Wars before Reagan, huh?
Oh, this was like a Earth-based one. He would have a tower with a tower, and each one would have a laser grid, so no one can go in. And that was like a boundary. Can you imagine if we had laser grids on the border?
Crazy.
You wouldn't be able to cross at all.
Yeah. Hitler wouldn't have liked that so much.
But
Hitler would have been like, "Oh, no, forget about it."
But Tesla
I'm just
said
gonna go home.
Tesla said he had a working prototype for that.
Wow.
And you got some guy saying stuff like that. The U.S. government wants it.
Oh, sure. They were watching him closely. So they swooped in and they took all this.
Within like an hour of his death. And a lot of people say that the government killed him.
Right.
So he died. They took all of his chest. And then, like, months later, like, 1 or 2 or 3 chests were sent to the museum, to the government.
Yeah.
And the government never gave back all of his work, so they kept almost everything.
Well, check out this timeline. Because this is where I think the government, United States government, got anti-gravity from Tesla. Where did Tesla get it from? We're going to do a show on Tesla.
Okay.
We'll cover that a lot. But I don't think the U.S. government got it directly from, another civilization or whatever. I think they got it from Tesla. 1939, Tesla dies.
Yeah.
Right? He has anti-gravity technology. The government swoops in. They take all his notes. They got his stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Plus, they got the greatest minds in the world. Einstein's still alive. He came over it was before World War II, but he was here.
Yep.
He was helping with he was helping with the atomic bomb. He could have easily just, hey, as a side job, let's take Tesla's notes, which he probably already knew the notes. He probably already knew it.
Yeah, the interesting thing with Einstein is he was from Germany.
Right.
It's during World War II. He refused to make anything that would kill anyone.
Right.
So that's why he came to the United States.
Yep.
He was asked to help make super weapons to kill people.
Right.
And he refused to do it. So
yeah. How he didn't get captured and thrown into a prison camp, I have no clue. Maybe he was timing. I don't know. I don't really know the story behind that.
It comes down to he was so brilliant. They actually wanted him to make devices of destruction, and he kind of snuck out. I don't know. I forget the whole story. Maybe he led them on. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I got something for you, and then it's like then he took a train to New York. I
got to run to New York. I'll be right back. Hold my wiener schnitzel. Keep it warm for me. Keep my spatzel in the oven. I'll be right back. That's probably what happened.
And I'll make your killing machine tomorrow. I promise.
Yeah, I got. Probably. You never know. So they steal all of his stuff. And Einstein's alive, greatest mind ever. Him and Tesla, great minds. He knew all his work. When did you remember that story of the one pilot in 1941? He saw some flying saucers on a training run over the Nevada desert.
Yeah.
He was the one that came up with UFOs, flying saucers.
Yeah.
They looked like flying saucers, and that's where the flying saucer came from.
Oh, okay.
Right? Is this guy, 1941. Yeah. 2 years after they got Tesla's work. Anti-gravity. 2 years after they confiscated all his work. Philadelphia experiment. We just talked about it. 2 years later. So by the time they got Tesla's notes, there's flying saucers, there's Philadelphia experiment, and it continues on today. So that's my theory on Tesla. This is his. All the technology that we have, the anti-gravity now, it all came from Tesla.
Oh yeah, and the reason why they'd want the anti-gravity is because they can use that as a weapon or a shield or both.
Right.
So,
who even knows what technology can come from that? Be on flying ships. What else is there?
You could have a laser gun that shoots out a anti-gravity beam, rip all of your protons and neutrons into pieces.
Right.
It'd be like D-matter gun.
D-matter gun, yeah. Like a little Marvin the Martian type thing.
Yeah.
Little handheld
you just
gun.
disappear in a thin air because all of your matter needs to be held together. Gravity holds everything together. So if you got no gravity holding you together, you vanish. So
Well, yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless. Technology never goes backwards unless there's a mass extinction.
Yeah.
Before the Ice Age, there was humans. Scientists won't, admit to that.
Yeah.
But there were humans before, the Great Flood or what have you, or the Ice Age. We're all around the same time. But, scientists won't say. But there were humans here before.
Yeah.
We're the next incarnation of humans.
Yeah, there's fossilized footprints and all kinds of things.
Which they deny, and they say it's glacier movement or whatever.
Hey, I'm not saying, like, the dematter gun. I'm not saying it would kill you. Maybe it would just, like, do, like, a Star Trek thing. You get demattered, and then you would, like, teleport or time travel somewhere and be remattered.
There was...
Kind of like cold air going into hot air. It's kind of like your matter. It's like, all right, there's nothing here to hold you together. Let's hold you together where the next dimension, where the next piece of gravity is for you. Or the...
there's
or
actually,
6 feet away, maybe. It's like...
right now, it's November 2014. Just this summer, it couldn't have been a couple months ago, I was reading that somewhere in Europe, they were actually doing it on a molecular level. Like, Willy Wonka, there's a chocolate bar, he zaps it with a radio, and it ends up on the TV screen somewhere else. They've actually done that.
I didn't see that.
With small pieces of matter.
Oh, okay.
Where they copied it, whatever. I don't know the technology.
Huh.
So they are using it in
microscopic terms. So
right, and if it's being used in universities and so on, in academia, government probably had it for 20 years already. They probably that's probably old. Anything you hear about is old technology to the government.
Yeah, I've heard scientists have come out, like whistleblowers. They say the government's usually at least 6 years ahead of everyone in the private sector. So,
right, in the age of the computers, and now we got anti-gravity, and we've been using that since 1941 now or earlier. Oh
yeah.
Who knows?
Imagine if someone can have the power to turn gravity off and on.
Yeah,
that's a lot of power in your hands.
I just wonder where the government's going with all this. You know what I mean? We just did a show, we're doing anti-gravity. We did one about satellites and technology. Wonder what their end game is.
Oh, no,
I mean, just to control humanity.
Probably.
You could do that. They do that now with Starbucks and Comcast.
They're
like sheep anyway. I mean, what else do they want?
The thing with people in power, it's never enough. Powerful people, the more power you have, it's like a addiction. You want more power. And it's never enough. So,
well, I guess it's not enough.
So,
I really don't have any on anti-gravity. That's all I got.
Okay. Stuff popped in my head. Like, what's gravity? So I was thinking the graviton. Okay, I read this unknown particles that creates gravity.
Right.
Because they really don't know how gravity's made.
Right.
So, but this is what I think. Like, you got areas like the Bermuda Triangle where you have like where gravity's like not equal.
Right.
And like things get messed up. And then you got black holes.
Right.
Where it sucks all the gravity in. Like, those are immense gravity areas.
Right, and you even told me, we were talking earlier, and you had mentioned about the black holes don't have to be large, they can be small.
Yeah, and actually that's my idea. I came over here.
Yeah. So I'm on the right track.
Yeah, so there, I'll just tell you my idea. So every cell of matter has a mini black hole in it. So this is my idea, like every cell in your body has a black hole in it.
Right.
Like I'm not saying this is true. This is not proven. It'd be so microscopic. It's like maybe the like, what's the smallest particle they have? Like the quarks or the quarks. Yeah. Maybe that is a black hole. Maybe the thing smaller than that is a mini black hole. Like, they're searching for the God particle all the time.
Right.
Maybe the God particle is like a mini black hole.
Well, I've noticed in nature things seem to repeat themselves, so that would make sense.
Like they keep running these accelerated particle accelerators. They just cannot figure it out. And I think it's a mini black hole. I think everything that has any matter, doesn't have to be organic, every structure of matter goes down to a mini black hole.
Right. They don't know. They don't know how those the force that's behind, like the quarks and the atoms. They don't know. So that theory is just as valid as any.
Yeah. And so if everything has a mini black hole in it, that means everything around it is actually a mini universe.
Yeah.
So it's a mini-verse.
Repeating patterns.
Yeah. It's a fractal. So let's say how many mini black holes are within our body? Billions, maybe.
Could be.
So my theory is when the size of matter is small, then it has a greater gravity, the area will be right here. Oh, that's like so if something's small, it has a smaller black hole in it. It'll have a less gravity. That's why things that are larger with more weight and stuff, it would have actually more gravity because it has more gravitons.
Right.
And the graviton is like something, it's a term people use. They say an unknown particle. But, so the graviton is actually, say you have like Jupiter, it would have like, they say it'd have 1 billion black holes pulling all together, where Earth would have like 300 million.
Right.
So Jupiter would have a larger gravity.
Yeah.
Because what we know is the larger the mass, the larger the weight, the larger the gravity.
Right.
So it's a stabilized black hole.
Right.
So then there's places like Bermuda. Then my idea is something that's smaller but has a larger gravity is due to the fact that matter has supernovaed inside.
Right.
Something within that matter exploded. It's nothing but gravity. It's like a super black hole now. So it's smaller than its mass, and it's causing a disruption in the gravity around it.
Right. Well, you know what, Jack? You're talking about quantum physics. Patterns repeat in nature, and that makes complete sense. You know the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Right? To scientists that don't believe in quantum theory, they believe the Big Bang is everything. It's like everything came from nothing. Quantum physics tells you that's just a repeating pattern.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. That's what you're saying. You are tapping into quantum physics. That's what you've come into. Repeating patterns, and the Big Bang isn't really the beginning of everything. It's just a continuation. It's like a pimple on your skin.
Yeah.
Like a pimple pops in your forehead when you got to go to the prom. That sucks. But that's like the Big Bang. Boom. Right? The pimple isn't everything. The pimple is just a protrusion of something greater, which is your body.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
you're
that's
saying
what I'm saying.
Repeating patterns.
Yep. And imagine the universe, our whole galaxy being the size of like something in a microscope.
Right.
So that's what popped in my head.
Right. The little and the big.
Yep. And everything's
That's
the
repeating
same.
patterns. When they look at something microscopically, or if you're looking at a telescope out in the space that's something big, and you turn around and look into a microscope, and you look at something small, you're looking at the same damn thing.
Yeah.
And that's what you're talking about.
Yep. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I agree with your theory. I think it's awesome.
So,
but anti-gravity, I don't know where Tesla got it from. We're going to do a show on Tesla. I think the government got it from Tesla. So, if there was a crashed spacecraft in Roswell, New Mexico, I don't know. Toss a coin, yes or no, I don't know. But I think the government got it from Tesla.
Yeah.
That was my point for the anti-gravity show.
Yeah. Oh, and then, so I was thinking about gravity. So my theory is you got all these mini black holes. Like, I mean, not even mini, like microscopic black holes. Like so our human body has I don't know how many cells are in the human body, but every cell would have its own black hole.
Yeah.
So, and people don't realize, you hear a black hole, you think it's just bad, but if it wasn't for black holes, there would be no galaxy.
Right.
Every galaxy is formed because the black hole holds it together.
Yeah. Yeah, they're an integral part of creation.
Yeah, and actually creates the gravity in the middle, the spinning pushes out, it makes new suns. Like every second there's a new sun made.
Yeah.
So.
And universes.
Yeah.
The bubble theory, like blow a whole bunch of bubbles. You know, when the bubbles all stick together, each bubble is a universe.
String theory, yeah.
String theory.
Yep.
We're just one bubble.
Yep.
You know, but obviously humanity and their egos, they want to think our one bubble is everything. Well, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nothing works like that. Nothing in nature works like that. So why would that be the case?
Heck, there might be we might be inside of a test tube right now.
That's true.
We might be under a microscope right now. We might be like, wow.
I hope my test tube has rum in it, and some girls walking around the bar going, "Here, have a shot."
Who knows?
You never know. But yeah, that's all I got, Jack. I can't really think of anything else. Anti-gravity. We will definitely.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, if you could go in with gravity with the little mini black holes, if you could control the gravity to all go in one direction, like protons and neutrons, they spin around it. If you can get them all to go in one direction, maybe you could reverse gravity.
Yeah, could be
on a small level. Instead of thinking big level, think of all the small. Think of how to get the gravity of the microscopic black hole. If you can control the small, you can control the big.
I think I'm following where you're going here with the government. Like you said, the government is 60 years ahead.
Yeah.
Well, we got all these underground things trying to find the God particle. Maybe the government already found it. Maybe they're 60 years ahead already. I never thought about that. Maybe they know the black hole and the God particle and all that. They're 60 years ahead. They might know that already.
Yeah, and that's just what it's called. We're not saying that particle's God. That's, that's the nickname it has.
Yeah, the nickname in the news. Yeah.
So.
Wow. See, Jack, you always have great theories. More than I could think of. I mean, I put two and two together, but you're doing, I'm doing.
Well, you had like a lot of information. I was thinking of an idea, and that popped out of my head.
When I'm doing like 1 + 2 = 3, you're like doing long division. So you're way ahead of me.
Well, so that's our show on anti-gravity. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm Jack. You're listening to ParanormalRoads.com.
Yeah, this is Mike. Don't forget to look me up. Alien Search Guide. Buy my book, 99 cents.
Okay. All right. Bye.
See you later.